Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to show you how you can create the certificate chain file that you need when you deploy new TLS certificates on your Zimbra server. In this video I assume you already have a TLS certificate that you can use on your domain for your Zimbra server. If not, please follow the steps that you can find in these links to obtain a new certificate. All the steps that I show you in this video you can read on our wiki at wiki.zimbra.com on the certificate chain page. The first thing where a lot of people struggle is when they get their certificates from their certificate authority that they have a whole lot of files and they're not really sure which ones should be used to deploy on Zimbra. So let's start by identifying which files you need to deploy on Zimbra. The first step is going to finding out where your private key file is. So I just go to my Zimbra server and I'm going to look for them in the folder I just stored them in. And as you can see, I have a whole bunch of files. Private key files, they can usually be recognized with the word key. So it either ends with key or there is some sort of key text in the file name. So for example, privkey.pam or yourdomain.key or commercial.key, or in our case it's splat.zimbra.io.key. So to find out if this is indeed our private key, I'm just gonna concatenate this file on the screen, or just show this file on the screen. And as you can see, that is indeed our private key. So I'm gonna make note of this URL and save it in our scratchpad for later use. Alright, the next thing we need to do is find our public key. Public key is usually recognizable with a CRT extension, but as you can see there's many of them. So what I always do is I just, again, put it on the screen and then copy paste it into a new file and save that on my desktop computer or laptop. So I just open up a folder. And save it. Now I can just double click on this file and I can see that it is indeed the certificate that I want to use because this is my domain and it's a wildcard certificate and it's not expired, it expires in the future. Well, that is that. So the next thing I'm going to do, and that is also explained on this wiki for Windows and macOS, should you want to take a look at that, is create a certificate chain. So how to create a certificate chain? The first thing I do is I take a look at this here, the verified by field, or on Windows it says issued by. So this I'm going to Google, and I'm just going to paste it in here and I'm Googling it. So as you can see, I end up on DigiCert, which is my certificate authority. And on this page, I'm going to look for that certificate file. I'm going to download it. And I'm also going to save the URL. So I'm just going to right click it, copy link address, and I'm going to save that into my scratchpad. So this is our intermediate certificate for later use. So I'm saving that. Now I'm opening up the file. And as you can see, this is exactly the same thing as that was in our certificate here. This exactly matches this, and that is actually what we're looking for. So the next certificate that I need to look up is this one. I'm again copy pasting it, looking for on our CA page, downloading it, copy the link, and saving the link into our scratchpad. I'm opening it to make sure that it is indeed correct. And as you can see, this exactly matches this. Oh, sorry, it's the wrong one. This is the one we downloaded. and it matches the one that is from our intermediate. So it's the correct certificate. So now that we have found all these files, we can start and create our certificate chain. Again, there are some screenshots on this wiki page for macOS and Linux and Windows, so you can look at that. But we can go and continue, because we already did all this, by actually building the certificate chain, which is something we do on our Zimbra server. So I'm just going to create a folder. Oop. And I'm going to download the files, and I'm just going to take them from the scratch path. Of course, I created the folder as root, so that's not going to work. No. And we have to start with our intermediate certificate, so that is this one. And we end up with our certificate chain. As you can see, there's just 2 certs in there, and that I just created. So now we can actually start by deploying the certificate by copying the key file into the correct location. So that was this one, and let's see if we have permission for that. And this is just the Zimbra location for the same file. And it's that. And now we can do the verify step. So we start with the private key, then the public key, and then the certificate chain file. And as you can see, it validates correctly. So now we can deploy it. And for that we only need to do, it's almost the same command, but we just, instead of verify, we type deploy. And that does not need to have the private key, so we just remove that part. And the next thing we have to do is we have to restart Zimbra via ZM control restart. And that's all you need to do to deploy a new certificate and build a certificate chain file. So I hope this was a helpful video for you, and thank you very much for watching.